Hello, this is the 107th issue of Catch of the Day, available on the Branch Talk YouTube channel. Today we're going to continue reading from a book written by Doug Mitchell, entitled When the Siege Has Ended, Ezekiel 5, The Judgment for the Living. Starting at the top of page 3, we read, In both of these parables, Christ is sounding the forewarning that the investigative judgment will take place in the time called harvest, which is the end of the world, the time in which the 2300 days culminate, just as the angel declared. Understand, O Son of Man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. Daniel 8:17. Shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. Daniel 8:26. For yet the vision is for many days. Daniel 10:14. Pointing directly to the time that the investigative judgment shall take place among the living, Malachi parallels both parables in his prophecy. The Lord whom you seek shall suddenly come to his temple, but who may abide the day of his coming, and who shall stand when he appeareth? For he is like a refiner's fire, and like fuller's soap, and he shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver, and he shall purify the sons of Levi, and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto the Lord an offering in righteousness. Malachi 3:1-3. As the cleansing called for in the parables, Matthew 13:30, 47-49, and in Malachi's prophecy, Malachi 3:1-3, have never taken place, the investigative judgment of the living is obviously then yet future. This investigative work is therefore occasioned by the work of separation in the earthly sanctuary, church, as brought to view also in Ezekiel 9. Track 3, 1934-1942, page 42 and 43. Considering that Brother Hodder said that the investigative judgment, the marking of Ezekiel 9, begins at the end of the 430 years, and he put the investigative judgment future from his time, then the true end of the 430-year siege must have also been future from his time. Note that regarding the dates 1930 and 1931 on his charts, he said they were not exact, not definite. He also said he used those dates because he had to use some date in order to make the charts. The chart on page 112-113 shows it's the 430 years of Ezekiel's prophecy termination in 1930. For as we stated above, it is outlined by the coincidences which perfectly fit the prophecy of Ezekiel. As it is impossible to make a time chart without any date to go by, we have used these coincidences, and it is stated that the date is indefinite. See chart on page 133. Ezekiel's prophecy is intended to point forward to the announcement of the predicted Reformation, and the one through Abraham to its completion, Ezekiel 9, Second Shepherd's Rod, page 275. From what is stated therein, it should be forever clear that what began in 1930 with the coming of the rod message was only heaven telling us of the coming of the announcement of the predicted Reformation at the end of the 430 years, and not that Reformation itself had actually come in 1930. That is, at the true end of the 430 years, an announcement was to be made that the actual beginning of the predicted Reformation had arrived, and the marking of Ezekiel 9 in, not before, the time of the judgment for the living was beginning. Indeed, even the subtitle of Brother Hotter's first publication, The Shepherd's Rod, tells of this situation. The 144,000 of Revelation 7 call for reformation. Calling for reformation is a wholly different thing than announcing that the predicted reformation was actually in the process of taking place. While it is obvious that Brother Hodder at first believed that this reformation had begun, or was to begin, in 1930, an overall view of the Rod message clearly shows that he was only pointing forward to the actual coming of that reformation at the end of the 430 years, the marking that would occur at the opening of the judgment of the living. He describes that reformation as Ezekiel 9, which begins with a marking and ends with a slaying, not the other way around. Brother Hodder said that a marking, sealing of the 144,000 started in 1929 because the truth of what the seal consists of began at that time. There is a certain amount of truth to that, but there is more to the matter which places that circumstance in a larger context. He distinguished the seal that the 144,000 were to be sealed with from the Sabbath seal, the seal of God, by referring to them as being two seals. First Shepherd's Rod 127, 129. What he said that he understood at the time was that those who would go through the grave need only be sealed with the Sabbath seal after 1845, when Sabbath was revealed to the remnant church. But after 1929, the 144,000 who were to live until Christ's second coming had to be sealed with a different seal, the one placed upon those who sighed and cried for the abominations in the church. Take care.